Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Check it out. This story is about a father that he's another one that won't win the Father of the Year award. His name is Ray. And Ray came into the penitentiary, when he was in his mid 20s, early 30s. And when he came to prison, he came, it was a violent charge. He had 18 years to do, on a second degree murder charge, right? And he had a hard time in here. Had a hard time here because when he was on the streets, he had an addiction, a bad addiction on cocaine. And when he came in here, he didn't slack up at all. He didn't really have any money. So he did a lot of odd things around the prison to get money. He was one of these dudes, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you've heard about these type of dudes, but he washed people's clothes. It didn't matter what it was, your underwear, T-shirts, socks, whatever. He ironed clothes, all of those types of things, right, for a little extra money. And everybody knew what he would do with the money. You know what I'm saying? He'd take the money and go buy him some dope. He would even clean the cell for you. You know what I'm saying? On Saturdays, he'd have 8, 10 people cell he's going to go in there and clean. And when I say clean, I mean wipe the walls down, clean the toilets, the sink, sweep, mop, buff the floor. If it was extra, if you wanted him to wax the floor for you. You know what I'm saying? But he did all of that. He worked for what he wanted, and he got his money. And he'd take that money straight to the dope man. A lot of the people that he did this stuff for, they were dope boys. So instead of them giving him money, they would give him dope. You know what I mean? And he was cool with that. And that's how he stayed getting high. Every now and then he'd get some money from home, and he would take that straight to the dope man in commissary or whatever the case may be. Back in the day, we used money orders. So he would have to send a money order out or send the money off his books, whatever he did. You know what I'm saying? And when you went in his room, you looked on the shelf, he had soap, deodorant, stuff like that, toothpaste, stuff like that to take care of his hygiene at the minimum. He didn't have a lot. He'd have enough to get him through. And he always had hygiene, but it was the minimum. He didn't have his shelf stacked. In the penitentiary, when you go into most people's cells in the penitentiary, you see those shelves stacked with commissary and mainly hygiene. That's because in the penitentiary, you never know when you're going to get locked down or whenever you're going to get locked up and go to max. And you always want to make sure you got plenty hygiene when that happens, when and if that happens. Because when you go back there, it's hard to get stuff. You feel what I'm saying? Even if you order from the commissary, they restrict you on certain items and so on and so forth. And then they might give you that soap where it's soap, body wash, and deodorant in one bottle. So you want to have your own stuff, right? So it wouldn't be uncommon to see somebody with 60, 70 bars of soap, 20, 30 things of deodorant. You understand what I'm saying? 20, 30 things of toothpaste, toothbrushes. You'd have all of these things because you want to make sure you can take care of yourself, and you never know how long you're going to be locked down, whether it be in the pod when something happens or when you go to max. You never know. So you want to always be prepared. But this dude wasn't like that. He wasn't like that at all. He was a minimalist, I guess you would call it. He had the bare minimum of everything, but it was enough for him. It was enough for him. He get a haircut once a month. He didn't care nothing about that. He didn't go to visit a lot. He didn't do a lot of those things, but he stayed high. And he stayed in his lane. He snorted, shot, and smoked the dope. You understand what I'm saying? You couldn't miss him on the way to do it. But his drug of choice was cocaine. He ain't really mess with the weed a lot or anything other than that. He'd smoke some weed every now and then if it wasn't nothing else to get, but he wanted that cocaine. And he really liked to smoke it. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, depending on the circumstances, if you get that powder, he'll snort it if he has to, if he can't find a rig. But he prefer to smoke it. But if he can't find the ingredients to cook it up, what you call the cocoa, the baking soda, and all that old kind of stuff. If he couldn't find that, then he would just do what he do. If it didn't come in already hard, he'd do what he had to do. He's trying to get the most out of it. And smoking and then shooting it for him was how he would do that. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you about this dude, Ray. Let me tell you about it. Ray wasn't no good. He wasn't no good. Let me tell you, his son Bobby on the town going through it, having a hard time, you know? And he ended up catching a case. Now, his son, he was one of those types of dudes that thought he was a pretty boy. Couldn't fight a lick. But he wouldn't run. He wouldn't run. And one day, he's out there, and he was going through some things, and he got into a fight with some dudes. And like I said, he's not running. He's not going to do that. So this particular day, he has a knife with him. And he's tired of all the fighting. Now, you got to keep in mind, he's just turning 18. He just graduated from high school. And his whole time in high school, he's been fighting this same group of guys. Because Bobby's one of them dudes that all the girls liked. You know, pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? That's how we call him in the streets, pretty boy. Preppy type dude. You know what I'm saying? He was one of them type dudes that kept his nails neat. It's before they were, coming out with getting your pedicure, manicure, and all that old kind of stuff, right? He was already doing that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people thought he was gay, but he wasn't. He kept him a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? And even though a lot of the dudes thought he was gay, the girls knew he wasn't. They all wanted him. And he wanted them, But the thing was, these dudes, with all of their jealousy and envy, they would whoop him. Now, he's a grown man. They're grown men. And they still feel the same way. They want to whoop him. You know how it is in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You got your bullies and you got this and that. So now, Bobby grown. And he ain't taking that no more. Now, he ain't keep no pistol on him. You know what I'm saying? He ain't keep no pistol on him. Because he wasn't that type of dude. But this particular day, he got that pocket knife on him. Right? A real knife. Not no penitentiary shank, y'all. Block blade. So when they get to whooping on him this time, he come up out of his pocket and pop that thing and he just raises up swinging. I'm talking about he hitting him. But he's panicking. He's scared. He's just fighting for his life. He said he ain't taking no more. So he ended up slashing 2 or 3 of them real good. Real good, to the point where they strike out running. Blood is everywhere. They leaking like a stuck pig, y'all. They ended up going to the hospital. You know what happened when they got to the hospital. You know how it go. Go to the hospital with a gunshot wound or a knife wound. What they going to say? What happened? And then depending on what you say, they going to call them boys. Well, they got in front of it. They beat him to the punch before he could file charges for assault and say he was defending himself. They told the nurses, and the nurses called the police and told the police that they had some stab victims. And they got the name and everything. So they come down there, question them, take their statement, and they go arrest Bobby. And he's trying to explain to them what happened. No surveillance cameras, no witnesses. It's just his word against theirs. They have the knife, and they have these dudes, 3 dudes, with multiple stab wounds and stitches. Which one is the easiest case to make? Now, he told them about, when he got his lawyer, he told his lawyer about being bullied in high school and all that, and they ran that down and they found it to be credible. And the judge allowed that to be admitted during his trial. But now you got these 3 dudes sitting up there. The wounds had healed, but you could still see them on their face and neck and body. And that had more of an effect on the jury. They said the conclusion was if you felt like you were bullied, this is what the DA said, If you were being bullied, why ain't your mama or somebody call the police? Right? And then somehow or another, in the neighborhood where everybody know who you're dealing with, everybody know your family, they knew his daddy, Ray. And even though they didn't say it out loud, you can assume that they held that against him, like father, like son. You see? I got some experience with that. Both of my sons suffered that. I'll tell you about that another day. So here's the thing. Bobby ends up getting 8 years, three concurrent 8-year sentences, right? So instead of him doing 8, start 8, then start 8 after he finished it, he got 3 felony charges, 8 years peace, ran concurrent. So he's basically at 1/8 that he has to do. And he ends up in the penitentiary with his pops. And when he ends up at the penitentiary with his pops is trying to semi-do the right thing and get him moved in with him in the cell. So they worked that out. But before they put him in there, he's seeing what his pops is into. The people at the prison tell Bobby what his pops is into and to be careful, watch yourself. Don't get caught up in here, this and that. Because they see what everybody else saw on the streets and while he was growing up. Bobby's a pretty boy. He's a pretty boy. This dude could have been a model. Let's just put it that way, y'all. And I'm going to tell you something. In the penitentiary, man, you got a lot of people in the penitentiary that would look at Bobby as Bobby. You understand? Yeah. I'm not talking like Bobby with the Y. I'm talking like Bobby with the I. You understand? So they looking at him because, he keeps himself groomed neatly. So they made a whole lot of assumptions in trying to say that he was with it. And he wasn't. But he had been dealing with that his whole life, so he thought that he could just ignore that in here. And he'd be okay. Nah. You might be able to get away with that on the street because you can go home, you can leave the area, you don't have to associate with those types of people. But when you're in the penitentiary, now, rumors become fact when they're not pushed back against. Rumors become facts, y'all. Lies become truth. And before you know it, his own dad is having a conversation with him at night in the cell about, are you gay, son? He's telling his own dad, no, I'm not gay. You feel me? Now here, let me be plain with you. If he was gay, it was his business. You understand? If he's gay, it's his business. But he kept telling him, I'm not. Didn't nobody believe him. Now, Ray, Ray, he's still doing his thing, running around, cleaning cells, washing drawers, doing all this and that to get that dope. So one day, one of them dope boys stepped up to Ray. And this dope boy had a reputation of liking them boys. So he tell Ray, look, man, let me get at your son. I'll make it worth your while. At first, Ray tell him, man, get out of my face, man. I'm talking about mine. But the dope boy kept coming and kept coming. And he'll break a little bit off to Ray, give him this and that. He wait till he get some of them Peruvian flakes. And y'all know them Peruvian flakes. I done talked about that to y'all before. Y'all know what them flakes look like. Look like them fish scales. They're light-headed. Smell like that medication. Smell just like a health department. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all been up in a health department or a hospital that just been cleaned with that alcohol and stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's what that dope be smelling like. And then when them fish scale, that sunlight hit it, look like pink and white. You know you got that fight in, and them dudes be on that dope. They go starting passing gas, stomach hurting, all that old kind of stuff. Because that dope, they know what that dope finna do to them. That's what it hit Ray with. Ray geeking. You know how they get when they be geeking? Jaws all locked, moving the mouth side to side like that, grinding their teeth. You know what I'm talking about. So that's what Ray doing. And he tell him while he good and high, he said, man, you can get some more of this for free. Just let me have your son. So Ray entertains and said, what you mean let you have him? And he tells him, I want your son. Ray know what he's talking about. He knows exactly what he's talking about. Then he looks at Ray. He reaches in his pocket and grab a couple of grams and hand them to him and tell him, man, go down to my cell. Chill down in my cell. I'm going to chill in your cell. Now, see, back in the day, when they weren't paying a lot of attention, see, back in the day, they're just looking at a body in the cell. They ain't really looking at your face. Now they're looking at your face, y'all. But back in the day, they just looked at the body. If you got 2-man cell and 2 people in there, the count good. They keeping it moving, right? You see what I'm saying? So, unless it's 2 off. If it's 2 people that supposed to be in the cell that's white or Latino, and they see somebody in there that's the opposite race or something like that, and then they look at them. Well, what y'all doing? See what I'm saying? But if it's 2 black dudes or 2 white dudes or something like that, they keeping it moving, man. They just counting the body as long as you're alive. And that was the situation with Bobby and this dope boy. 2 black dudes. 2 black dudes. So they keep it moving. Now, the count, depending on where you're at and what's going on, the count might take anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes to almost an hour before it clears. You never know. You just never know. So dude know he ain't got a lot of time. Now, he's in the cell already 30 minutes before the count is set to start. And he's in there talking to Bobby, like kicking it like he cool and straight, trying to see if he want to get high, this and then the third. And Bobby telling him, nah, I'm good. I'm good. And he's telling Bobby that he waiting on his pops to come back, but he know Ray ain't coming back because Ray down in his cell getting high and going to stay down there throughout the whole count. So now, Bobby started to feel a little uncomfortable. What's really going on? What's really going on? So he said, look, man, you need to go. So now the dope boy said, man, I ain't going nowhere, man. Your pop's down in my cell getting high. I'm staying down here till he get through. He said he might chill throughout the count. So Bobby looking at him like, man, what is that how they do it? I ain't finna get in trouble for you. So dude tell him, nah, man, just chill, man. Everything's straight, man. We do this all the time. Just chill. Bobby don't know. So he get up on the bunk, he chilling. Dude lay on the bottom bunk just chilling. But he keep throwing these little things at him. He keep throwing these little hints at him, talking about being with a man and all this and that and what it's like and, you know, all this old kind of stuff, right? And Bobby knowing what it is, he's heard this his whole life. And he tell him, he said, look, man, you getting up out of here, period. Getting up out of here. So Bobby, not understanding, but not really giving a damn about the penitentiary rules, when the officer come around, he tell him, he said, look, man, dude don't belong in here. So the dope boy raised up off the bunk. The officer look at him and say, what you doing in here? And he call off his name, right? Call off his name. Say, come here. He popped the door, get him up out there. Then he take him to his cell, which is a couple of feet away, and get Ray and tell Ray to get down there. Locks them both in. Now Ray looking at him like, what's going on? He high as a kite. So Bobby cut into him. He said, man, what you got dude down here for? What you got going on? Ray sat down on the bunk, high as a kite, geeking. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what he was down here for. Well, what were you down in his cell for? What were you doing? So I'm doing me. But Bobby knew something was wrong, man. He knew something was off. He knew what his pops had done. He thought it anyway. Let me put it that way. So Bobby, he ain't really had that much love for his pops. He felt like his pops been disrespectful in the sense that, you know, he running around there washing other men's drawers and all this and that. In the penitentiary, y'all, that's a tight fight with a short pipe. I'm telling you now. Because if you washing somebody's drawers in the penitentiary, it's usually because you their boy. That's just being real. Now, every now and then you got situations where you got laundrymen, but they ain't washing no drawers. Now, if they work in the main laundry, stuff staying in the bag, but ain't anybody that's taking another man's drawers and putting them in his hand and washing them like that, and you ain't related to him in some kind of way, like your father, son, or niece, or nephew, somebody like that in your family, like that, they're right. Nah, man. Nah, especially in the penitentiary, y'all. Y'all know what it is. So quit playing. So he tell his dad, he said, look, I'm in here for stabbing 3 people that played me weak. You're not going to play me weak. I don't care if you are my daddy. You're not going to play me weak. So his dad is sober up real fast because, he in there for killing too now. And he tell him, he said, man, say what you say. But you ain't going to disrespect me like that. So his dad is smacking. Now, Bobby, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Because it says his dad, and crossing that line is hard. Crossing that line is hard. You know what I'm saying? A son don't want to fight the father, and the father don't want to fight the son. You know what I'm saying? So Bobby just sit down at the table, and he don't say another word until the count cleared. And when the count cleared, he got up, he went out, and he told the officer he wanted to move to another cell. The officer tried to talk to him to find out what was going on, and he told him a little bit of it, but he didn't tell him all the way. So then he said, you're going to have to wait till Monday. So Monday came. Now he goes out to the unit manager's office, right? Goes to the unit manager's office, and he talks to them about what went on. And they agree to move him. They get him out of that bad situation. And he never spoke to his pops again, y'all. The whole time he was in the penitentiary, he never spoke to his pops again. They would see each other in the chow hall. They see each other in the yard. All of this type of stuff. He never spoke to his father again. Luckily for Bobby, he ran into a couple of dudes that he was in high school with that used to kick his ass, right? They heard about what he did on the streets, and they respected that. How sick is that? But again, he defended himself. So he told them what was going on with his pops. So they let him know, man, we ride with you. So they banded together, you know what I'm saying, the 3 of them, and Bobby felt safe because they had apologized to him for what they had done to him, and they knew that he wasn't gay. And if he was, it was his business. You feel what I'm saying? And at the same time, it was sad that he didn't have a relationship with his pops, but he had to understand that in this environment, and that's what I want y'all to understand, in this environment, almost anything goes, man. When a father would set his own son for dope. A father would set his own son for dope. So think about that. All of that. Because we automatically think that a parent's going to love the child unconditionally and protect them, do anything that they can do. But what if you're sick? What if your parent is sick on that dope? And what if you have somebody else that's sick selling that dope? Yeah, that's a sickness too. It's a sickness too. It's a sickness of the mind. Using and manipulating people. So what do you do in a situation like that? Think about that one, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.